There is a level of awareness that is beyond the thinking mind, and it's known as the dimension of inner stillness. We're going to look at 5 roadblocks that may be preventing you from directly experiencing stillness. Let's get into it. Number 1, not having the awareness that inner stillness is a reality and that it's already a dimension within you. What we become aware of is what we give life to. And we've been conditioned to believe that the thinking mind is all there ever is, which operates between past and future. But there is a level of awareness that is actually transcendent of the thinking mind. And what I mean by that is you experience silence or the peace of stillness, of source energy. And that's available to each and every one of us when we are deeply anchored in the present moment. Awareness is everything. And by becoming aware that there is a level of reality that's beyond the thinking mind, we now shift that potential to possibility. Number 2, not being fully aware and operating through the present moment. As human beings, we've been conditioned to bounce between the past and the future. Nothing wrong with that. We need that contrast to be able to then fully experience the reality of the present moment. So this is a world of relativity, and in order to experience something, opposites are necessary. So from one point of view, the thinking mind with its past and future creates the suffering and the desire for many of us to find relief, and that relief is found in the present moment. When we realize that the past and future are only mind constructs and that the present moment is where we encounter the reality of life, we can then begin to create space between that past and future. If you really reflect on it, the past only arrived in the present, and the future never arrives. It only arrives now. Number 3, not practicing the art of non-attachment. So when we're attached to things, to people, to relationships, to outcomes, we can potentially create suffering for ourselves. And it's also another distraction to the clarity and peace and knowingness of inner stillness. By becoming aware of our attachments, we can introduce presence or awareness to them, to our moments, and thereby creating that space, that pause. Number 4, the 4th roadblock, is not putting forgiveness into action. Forgiveness is more than a word. When we activate it and utilize it, it actually becomes a force. And it has releasing power to release us from the past. When we can forgive someone or forgive an event and truly let it go, we lighten our emotional loads. We experience greater relief. And by becoming lighter energetically, we begin to shift more inward and more centered into that peace of inner stillness. Number 5, 5th roadblock, is not letting things die. And what I mean by that is not letting things die energetically. The ego loves to perpetuate itself between the past and the future. And it does that to create suffering. But there's a purpose in that suffering. Without that suffering, we wouldn't seek relief. Without that suffering, we wouldn't want to find another way. So to let things die is to choose to observe them instead of react to them. If you're observing instead of reacting, you're no longer fueling it. And that negative thought, that attachment, can't be energized. It needs your vital energy to feed off of, to perpetuate itself. So by becoming an observer of your thoughts instead of reacting to them is what begins to bring quiet to the mind, is what begins to slow things down and bring peace and clarity. If you find that there are some of the roadblocks that come to mind, leave the questions in the comments and I'll try to get back to as many as I can. I hope you have found this video empowering and enlightening. 1,000 blessings to you all.